This conference will now be recorded.
Started, I guess.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was saying that the technology which you guys are here to learn is called as an Appian, and Appian is the tool-based technology where and it's called as the BPM. It comes under the BPM category. So BPM stands for the Business Process Management. See, there are many different technologies in market. So let's start from the basic. Maybe if you guys know that C, C++, if you have heard that term, and then you have heard definitely the term of Java. So there are many technologies out there, and the reason why Appian tool is getting popular in industries is because of low code platform.
Your voice bit of
Okay.
slow, sir. Yes, increases volume, sir.
Can others hear me? Chinmay, Monica,
Yes, sir.
Anshul, can you guys able to hear me properly?
Yeah, yeah. Now
We
it's fine, sir.
we can hear sir, but a bit louder.
Is it better now?
Yeah, a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
So I hope you're able to recall, right? What did I, or should I repeat that one more time?
No, sir, it's
you.
fine.
No, sir.
Okay. So I was saying like why Appian tool is getting popular nowadays is because of low code platform. Uh, so when I say a low code platform, you need to compare with the applications which is completely code based. I mean, for everything you need to write a code. So, for example, of Java. Java is one of the coding language, right? And if you want to do anything into Java, you need to write code for everything. Let's say you need to send an email, design a button, or anything from starting from scratch. So everything needs a code for that. So nothing is built it already. You need to write a code. But when we talk about Appian tool, there are many things which is already built it and provided by Appian. So what we just need to do is we need to use those things and then go ahead with our applications and then go ahead with the codes. So when you compare the cycle of the life cycle of application, the cycle of how much time does a tool is taking as compared to Java is way lesser than Java. So let's take so any application. Let's take an application of HR onboarding. Maybe if you want to design in Java, it will take like 8 or 9 months, and if you want to design in Appian, it will take hardly 2 months or 3 months. So this is what the main difference is. Um that's the reason why industries wants to get and industries are being more excited with Appian tool because it's a low code platform. We can deliver the application much faster, and then again, it helps them to automate the their processes. And okay, so I'll give one example, like what type of applications we can build in Appian. So the major applications we try to build in Appian is completely depend on the business case. Every industry will have definitely a different business case, so we cannot say uh, you know the same applications will be for everyone. Okay, guys, so feel free to interrupt me if you guys didn't understood anything, and if my voice is low, then just let me know. Okay, all right. So yeah, so I was saying about the applications, right? What type of application we do build in Appian. So there would be a one application will be common for most of the industries that will call as HR onboarding. HR onboarding is nothing but the process. of onboarding an employee, right? So maybe in future you'll definitely go join some big companies. All of you will definitely go and join big companies. So there they will also have the process. So it doesn't matter what type of industries it is. Maybe it's a finance, it's the IT industries, or might be a manufacturing industry, or different industries. So every industries have their own protocols. Uh, I mean their own set of regulatories, what type of things they want into their applications. So how Appian help them is we gather the requirement from business. Business knows what exactly they want, and yeah, so business knows what exactly they want, and depend on that, we go and design the applications. And how these things help them instead of achieving this HR onboarding process manually to automate. So there will be a difference. Let's say that Chinmay. So Chinmay wants to join some company, right? And a recruiter will connect with Chinmay. He'll ask for his or her resume, and then he will schedule interview line. You will go for appearing for the interview, and then they'll again call you for some other round, and then will be a final round, and after then they will give you the offer letter. They will offer you the job. So once any company offer you a job, from that point the actual work of employee onboarding starts. So actual work means if you're going to join a company, there would be certain things or certain products is required for you to work for the company. Let's take a case, you work into a finance company, then you definitely needs a phone. Phone would be a generic term, everyone needs that. But for you to deal with the customer maybe all the time, or let's take a case where anyone who's joining as the customer support, I mean, who is working as in BPO or the support work. So support works definitely needs a phone. They needs to talk because that's how the work, the job profile is. So that is the one thing. I mean, the phone is the one thing which the employee needs. Again, employee needs the ID card because everyone will go. They must be authenticated. They do have identifications, so they need ID card to enter the office premises. They need a laptop, and then they need a desk from where you're gonna work. Most of the companies have their VPN. I mean, there's a virtual network. I mean, how they connect to the virtual network. So that access. So there are many, many, many access which is required for any employee to start their first day in office. I mean, these are all the list of things which any companies takes care, and that is completely hidden. I mean, you guys will definitely don't know this, but when you go to the company, everything has been ready for you, and that's actually the process of HR onboarding, and that's is the application name. So this is how uh, APN will help us. APN help company to develop, to automate the process, and so this thing, once you design an application in Appian, so this entire process will be taken care. And let's take an example where the process has not been designed. So you can imagine by your own, if there is no application, I mean, to track how many employees are coming, what laptop we have given to them, that will be super, 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 confusing thing, and that will be very difficult for them to gather the report. I mean, how would you do? It's like sending an email, uh, preparing an Excel sheet, how everything's will be documented. So that's how this application help, and that's how the Appian help. And this is the one example which is HR onboarding. You can design any applications depending on the business use case. Any question, guys, so far?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. So today uh, we'll start something. So this is like what brief about Appian, what type of applications we do build. You guys can see my screen, right? All right. So some of you did mention about SQL, that you guys have some knowledge of SQL. So can you let me know whoever has spoken about it? I guess it's Chinmay or so can you let me know what exactly is SQL? Chinmay?
So, yeah, when we were having these trainings, that is when they just told us, like, they just gave us information on SQL, and we just had these theory classes, and it was just like for a week or 2 weeks, so we don't have in-depth knowledge about what it is.
That's okay. I'm just asking what is SQL? I mean, if you want to define it, how would you define?
It's a coding language, right? Which is used to develop something like, I'm not sure.
It's
Okay.
like a database, which is
Yeah,
actually used in many of the things like Oracle and all that.
right. That's correct. So it's actually a database, and that's not, we will not say that as in coding language because we are not coding anything. That is not actually a code. What you write in SQL, we mention that as in a script. So those are actually the scripts what you write to execute certain commands. I mean, if you take command prompt, Linux, Unix, these are like different things where you go and type these scripts. So SQL is the database part, and depending on the companies, depending some company use Oracle database, some company use SQL database. However, like most probably the syntax will be same, but there will be definitely a difference in terms of functions and some kind of syntax. So if you know SQL, it will be easy definitely for you to go and check Oracle because 70 to 80% things will be similar. Hardly there will be very limited changes. Okay, so the conclusion is SQL is a database, it's not a coding language, and database is used everywhere. Any application need database. Database is what? Database is a place. I mean, if I define it, it's a place where all your data gets stored somewhere. Because if you go and log into a Facebook, you just type your username and password. Your thing is authenticated, right? I mean, you are able to log in into your Facebook account. So definitely something has been stored somewhere. I mean your username, your password, because when you type, it should compare because they will not able to authenticate either you typing it correct or not. So that is the first level of authentication. So it goes and store. So everything and every informations is being stored into the database, and that's it. So and database is the backend. So there will be two things. The first thing will be the front end, and the second thing will be the backend. I mean the process which runs behind the backend and we doesn't know. Okay. The being a user when we log in into Facebook, I'll take the example of Facebook only. That will be really easy for you guys, right? So Facebook, uh, when you go log into your Facebook, you see the UI, right? I mean, you can see everything. I mean, your settings, till your profile, your home, and there are a lot many information. So what exactly it is? That's a form, right? That's an interface. That's a user interface which any user, whenever they log in, they see. But when you click on anything, let's see that I'm clicking on the syntax. So it's changed the page, expand all, collapse all. So everything is being changed when I'm doing this. So every click has something in backend which we don't see as an user. But when you become a developer, when you know the tool, you will definitely able to know it. So we'll start with the front end first because back end is something, if you know the UI and all, that we'll cover later. So we'll start with these functions today. And okay, so for anything, any language, and even SQL database has their own functions. And for when I say functions, functions is nothing but the predefined and coded, predefined, coded into the system. Into the system means not your laptop. It means into your tool, into your platform. If you go and design an application in Java, it has its own set of functions which are methods defined already, which you can use. Taking a case of SQL, SQL also have this type of functions which you are seeing here, date and time, right? So it has its own text functions, conversion functions where you can convert a one data type to the other. I mean a data type which is of type number. Number. So data type is what type of value or what type of value it can hold. So if I say variable, or if I say I'm storing a value into a variable of type integer. So type integer would be your data type. I mean your data type is an integer. So that variable can only hold that integer value. So similarly, there will be a different data types as in number integer, number decimal. Decimal is also being called as float, and then you can store a text. So text can store everything because all the special characters and things can be treated as in text. So we'll jump to the functions. Uh, as I already mentioned, what is the functions? And first you should able to know, and this would be easy for you. So definitely, uh, because we are not designing anything so far, we are learning things which is already there, and all these functions we are gonna use while writing any expressions or any logic. So we'll start with the append function, and if you guys have any query, feel free to stop me. I'll quickly explain those. All right, you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
All right, so feel free to stop me for let's make the session more we should exchange our thoughts. So just don't be quiet. It's completely I'm not 40-year-old, 50-year-old sir. Even you guys can call me Rahul. I don't have any issue with that. So don't be formal, be interactive, and definitely feel free to ask me anything. Okay. So these are the functions. As I told you, right? Functions are the predefined stuff which is already coded. So this comes under the category of an array functions. You can see this here. So you need to note it down what exactly the array is and why do you need it. So array function is nothing but the a value which is more than one. I mean multiple values is called as an array in computer language, or in the any IT industries. If someone will say that my data type was an array, so that means that the data type was capable of holding more than one value. You got it? Okay. So here you see the append is a function. So okay, so let's see the definition of append. Append a value or values to the given array and returns the resulting array. That means append is nothing but the normal English term. So it's actually merge, it's actually join to the existing one. And here is the syntax. So to use this function, you need to write append. So when you write append, you need to open and close this braces. Uh, and the first parameter, it has two parameters, which you see here, right? It has array, it has value. So array will be your original value. Let's say you have a number 1, 2, and 3, and you want to add one more number. I mean, add, we are not doing uh, addition or subtraction, we are appending. So here is the example of this. You can see this clearly, or you want me to do zoom or something?
No, sir,
I
it's
can
clear.
see.
Okay. So this is the append function. So to use this, let's see. Let me write it. So we're writing it append. So you have written a function. To call any function, you need to write this. And the first parameter is an array, if you see this. And array means multiple values, but it can hold single value as well. So if I write this, I mean only one. And let's try to execute this. See, this is the result which it has given. Value 1, and it says type. I mean what type it is. Type of list of numbers, integer. List means you're able to recall. List is what? More than one value, that is an array. So it gave you 1. Alright. So if I type multiple values into this, like 2, 3, 6, 8, and will execute. So it give you this, all the values, whatever is there into first parameter. And you see this note given by Appian is like only the first value parameter is required. So first value means array parameter is required. Even though if you don't give the second parameter, this function will definitely work. That's what we are seeing here. We haven't passed yet the second parameter. Okay, so now we are passing the second parameter, and second parameter could be again anything. See, value what is taking is any type or any type array. So it can take anything. Anything means a single value, a multiple value, but the type of data should be same. So here also let me give this array. So I'll give 22, 33, 44, 55. And so we are appending what? Uh, so when we execute 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7.
Sir,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sir, we are not able to see those inputs what you're actually putting, sir. Or I don't know if it's only me who am not able to see.
Can others confirm this?
We can see, sir.
You can see.
Is it the same screen that everybody are able to see the syntax, returns, notes, and all?
No,
No, it's
Alka, it's changed to examples, test input,
Yep.
Or
right?
yeah, that's what I'm not able to get that screen.
You just refresh it, I guess.
Yeah, just refresh, either reconnect, possible.
Okay, I will do that. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the append function, and this is the first parameter. So this is the first parameter, and this is the second parameter. So we are appending this, and let's check the result. All right. So let's check the result. Okay. So you could see the result, right? It has appended your second parameter value, which is 22, 33, 44, 55. So now, it's because why do you need append? So why do you need append is, guys, am I audible? Is it too low, my voice?
I think it's fine.
Okay, cool. So appending, what we are appending here is you have one parameter, I mean the first parameter, I mean the first array, and you have a separate array. Let's say you have a into the code you came into a situation where you have two different variables holding two different values and you want to combine both of them. So what will you do? You will use the append function by passing one variable and the other variable, and it will append all the values, which is done here. So this is the example of append, and if you scroll down here, and you'll get many more examples. So again, okay. So here we have done the multiple values. I'm just giving single value in curly braces. Okay. So it gives me 2. Curly braces is nothing, means if you want to define more than one value, you need to pass in curly braces. That's how the syntax is. Because if you don't pass into curly braces, it will end up with more than one parameter, right? Because anyway, you have given the comma, and if I give 2, if I give 2 and see the syntax here, it has only two parameters. I mean, first one is array, second one is value. And how do you separate the parameters? We separate with comma. So the first we have put into the braces, and so when braces open and braces end, that has been treated as first parameter, and we have a comma here which separates, and this is the second parameter value, which is again 2. So let me change to 9, and I've changed this to 9 and execute. So it gave you the result. See, 1, 2, 3, even though you haven't passed, because this is a single value, we don't need to give the braces. But what happens when you think that multiple value can be given by comma separated? So that's not a case. If I give 2, it will work. If I again give comma and give 3 and think that this 2 and 3 is the second parameter multiple values. All right. So okay, so this seems to work here, but when you actually go and design into the language, I mean, when you actually log into the code and try there, this will definitely not work. So this is the UI given by Appian. This is the documentation things, and it does not have validations, I guess. But anything or any parameter you wanted to give is try to give, and first try to understand, okay, what exactly the function is and what syntax it has, and every syntax has its own values, own data type. So try to understand the syntax first, and depending on that, type your values. Okay, so this is the first append. This is, we'll jump to the other function, which is known as index. All right. Alright. So index functions is basically used to return the array index if it's valid, or else return the default value. Okay, so I'll skip this definition. I mean, what exactly the index function is. I'll explain you directly. So index, what is there is index has three parameter. The first one is array. The second one is index, and the third one is default. So this is the default one. If you give or you don't give, doesn't make any sense. But the only case why we need default is if your first two parameter doesn't fulfill. I mean, array and the relation between index and array is not satisfied. In that case, default will execute. So that's the use of default into this. We'll jump to the example. It has three parameters. So you could see the screen, right? This index has first parameter, which is array, and the first parameter has value 10, 20, and 30. And the second parameter is index. Second parameter is index. As Monica, can you see the screen now? Is it you?
So actually, there's some problem with my screen. I think I'm just looking into my friends and I'm learning. I'm trying to log into my phone also. I'll just see to that. You can continue, sir.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so this index has three parameters. The first one we have already given 10, 20, 30. This second parameter is what the index, and we'll execute this. So this gives you result 20. You guys can see, right? Or shall I zoom?
You can see. Sir.
Okay. So can anyone tell me what actually happened, and what does it what is the meaning of index, and how we got 20 value? Any idea, anyone? Everyone is there, right, on the call?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this particular line gave you the result called 20. So how does it give is like this is your first array. So what we are doing here is this is the syntax of index. So your array will be multiple value, I mean 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And when you say index, index is nothing but the position of your value. So here we are saying 2. 2 is what the position. So what we are asking by this function is we are asking to this function go and search into this array which value is there at position 2, return it. So 10 is at position 1, 20 is at position 2, 30 is at position 3, and we are passing index. 2 is the index. So we are passing 2 and we are asking get the value which is at index 2. So index 2 has 20. So it gave you result as 20. If I change it to index 3, it should give 30. Here is the value. Let's check this default as well. Default is 1. If we give index 6, so is index 6 present into this array? That's a question for you guys.
No, sir.
Okay, because still index 3, because it starts with 1, 2, and 3. So index 6 is not there. In this case, this default should work. That is the role of default. See, this it gives us a value called as 1. So if you do not give anything, let's see what happens here. I'm not sure with this UI though. It gave you the error. See this. Expression evaluation error at function index. Invalid index 6. This is how you can handle. So if your scenario does not satisfied in future whenever you write the code. So this is how default help us to handle these situations. And it should be your case as well, where certain value is not there and the default value is expected. So that's how this default work. So you guys able to understood, right? Append, index.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You guys able to understood, right? This both functions. Shall I go fast or should I use the same pace?
So, same pace is fine.
Okay. So we'll jump to the third function, which is insert. What we are learning now is we are learning the array functions. So these are the array functions. That's what we are learning. We do have many more functions to be explored. So, okay. So this is the insert functions. And again, it has three parameters. And why do we use it? Insert function. Insert a value into a given array and return the resulting array. So we are inserting some values and this will return as an array. So this is the first parameter. Insert is array. Array is your list of values. This is a list of value and first parameter 10, 20, 30, 40. We want to insert number 99. So value, any type, a value or values to be inserted. So this could be a single value. This could be a multiple value by your braces. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40 is the multiple value at your first parameter. Second parameter is the single value, and this is somewhat default, I mean index. See, so this is the index. Uh, if you're able to recall the index function which we have used, what exactly the index? Index is the position, right? And it's the position starts from the 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 till 4 index we do have actually into this example. So we want to insert what we are doing into this function is we want to insert number 99, but where? So we are defining index here. It should go and add this value at index 1. Index 1 is what? 10. So it will go add the value at index 1 and shift this value to the other index, I mean index 2. So you see, right, we are testing this result. Here is what the result is. Earlier, your string or your parameter has 10, 20, 30, 40. This was the actual thing. But we appended or we inserted value 99 at index 1. So you see, right? So 99 came at the first, and this became the first index, and 10 became the second index, and this is third, this is fourth, and this is fifth. So if we say 99 to be inserted at index 4, we change the index number, you do test, and see 99 came at index 4, 10, 20, 30, 99, and then 40. So this is what this index is. If I say index 6, let's see what happens. Okay, so it has by default taken, there is no other index. We just have 4 values, and when we type 5, it did work fine, but when we are typing 6, it's giving us the same result. right? So that's how this functions work. It functions has three parameter: your array, your value, what is there, and your index. So after this session, after this today's class, I'll share you this link of documentations uh, where exactly you'll find this function. So you just guys go and take out some spare time and revise these functions and try to understand the functions. Come up tomorrow if you have any query. Try inputting different parameters, and I'm just giving you one example as of now, right? You will scroll down, you'll get the multiple example here. These are all the different examples. So see all these examples, and if you have any query, we'll discuss before starting the class. I mean, 10-15 minutes. We'll keep for your queries, and I'll resolve all your queries, and from there we'll proceed to the next session. Okay.
Sir, can you just share the session which has been recorded now?
That Prakash will do. Prakash, you there? Oh, you want me to share this session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll ask Prakash because he is the one who is recording, and we have joined actually his bridge, so he will be having this recorded session.
Okay.
Okay. So insert. So we covered today append. We covered index. We covered insert. Let's jump to. Let's cover two, three more functions. So this is the join array functions. What it does is concatenates the element of an array together into one string and insert a string separator between each element. And see, the syntax is join array has two parameters, again as an array, and this is a separator. So we are learning the array functions. That's the reason all your parameters have an array. Okay, just a minute. All right. So this is the join array functions. The first parameter is array, and second one is a separator. And here is the definition of separator. If you want to know what is separator, a separator is a string that will be inserted between each element of the given array. And what is the type of separator? You see this is in they have defined text. So this is the join array function. It has two parameter. The first parameter is array, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the value of first parameter. If you only execute this, you'll get the result by 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4. That will be the result, right? If you just execute the array. Okay. All right. So if you execute join array, so the first parameter will be your array, second is the separator, and this separator, you see this, right? And separator could be anything. It could because this double quotes you see, right? That's how we are defining this as a text. If I define here T, this is alphabet T, and I execute this, do you see the result? It became 1 T, 2 T, 3 T, 4. So what we are doing here, we are just replacing comma. We are just putting one separator in between each values. So in between 1 and 2, we did cap 2. In between 2 and 3, we kept T. In between 3 and 4, we kept T. See, that's how this works. I mean, join array works. See, and this could be anything. I'm giving the special character at the rate. This is the result. 1 at the rate, 2 at the rate, 3 at the rate, 4. You guys got it right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you be a little bit louder? Little, please.
First, I'll recommend you maybe if you can increase your volume. Is it full?
Yeah, yeah, we did that. I did that, but I don't know. Maybe it was proper in between, and then again it got low.
Mm, because I'm already very loud. Is
That's
it
okay.
better?
Yeah,
Is it better?
yeah.
Okay. No, you can hear, right? At least.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Just let me know if it's become too low. I'm not sure because maybe some sort of network glitch or internet glitch, not sure. But if you're not able to hear, feel free to let me know. Maybe I'll try to adjust, please. All right. So we did cover this join array. Let's cover 2, 3 functions more and then finish up the session so that you guys can go through the functions and at least when you're free. So this is the ldrop functions. Ldrop function is used to drop some values from your array. And as this is L means left. That means we need to drop some values from the array which is on the left hand side. Similarly, we do have other function which is rdrop. You see here, I am not clicking on it right now. So this both has the same syntax, same functions. I mean, same uh, functions means functionality would be same. The only difference is from which positions we are thinking to drop. Is it from the left hand side of the array or is it from the right hand side? So this is ldrop where they define open and close parenthesis for this. That's how you define the syntax. Let me write it for you. So so if you want to write this would be like ldrop open close. All right. First parameter open and curly because we are defining here as an array. So 1 comma okay, that's 12 comma 23 comma 22 comma 21. And what we need to do here is the let's see the what is the type, a number of value to draw from the array. I mean, how many values. Second parameter is, so whatever I will define here, that means we do have 4 values. I mean 4 index 1 2 3 and 4. And if I say I want to drop 2, 2 is nothing but the 2 values which I want to drop. And when I'm using this ldrop, so from so which value will get dropped? Now you guys tell me.
12 and 23.
Sorry.
12 and 23.
That's correct. So 12 and 23 will get dropped because we are using ldrop functions and it will drop from the left hand side. So I'll execute this. 12 and 23 got dropped and the remaining value it gives us, which is 22 and 21. So this is the, sorry, who gave the answer?
I guess it's in me.
Oh, okay. Thanks. So yeah, so this is the ldrop. So we'll jump to rdrop and I'll quickly execute that. That's the same thing. I'll drop the values from the left hand side, or drop the value from the right hand side. So 10, 20, 30, and we are giving 1. So we are just asking that only drop one value which is on the right hand side, not more than that. So 30 is the value which is on the right hand side, and so we got the result 10 and 20. So 10, 20, 30, it dropped one value from the right, it became 10, 20. So if I drop all the values, I mean all three values from the right, it give you the null. See this list of number integer. This is the type. I mean, this is the type because we are giving integers value, right? And it works on the integer value. So it gives the this is the value which is give which is empty, and this is the type as in list of numbers because it stores the multiple value. It return the multiple values. So this become our drop. And let's see length. So length of functions. So sometimes we not sometimes I would say most of the times you need to use this function's length. Length is when you wanted to take a count that how many multiple values you have into your variable. So that's where the length come into the picture. And what length does is length of this array. It just have one parameter. Length of this parameter. So we are taking this length of this. So can anyone tell what will be the result? So treat this length as a normal functions. I mean, what exactly length stand for? So just
Three.
yeah, sorry.
Is it three?
Yes, that's correct. So this will give you the value 3 number integer. See here it has not given you the list of number integer. So for now you guys might be thinking, okay, even when I have started the career, even I don't give this much importance to this type of uh, value because we just directly go and jump and wants to see the result. But for anything, type really matters. So whenever you go into these tools and you actually plan to work, there could be lot many issues only because of your data type. So your data type, you need to understand uh, why this is getting changed because there is only single value, it gives you the number integer. If there will be more than one value, the function will return as a list of number integer. Here is just one value, number integer, that's it. So this is the length. Length is used to take the length of your actual array, what is there. So, and we do have other functions called as, so I'll cover the other functions now, but that's not part of array functions. We have the other functions called as count. I'll give you the overview what it does. So length, if I pass a null value into this, now tell me what will be the result is. I'll not click on test unless until you guys tell me.
Is it null?
Yeah, that is null. 10, 20, null, and then 30. So we do have four values into a string. So now tell me what will be the result.
Null?
Oh, you're saying result will,
Or yeah, yeah, I think it's null.
okay, let me click. Result is 3. So what happened? Earlier, we just has three values, 10, 20, 30. Okay, we executed. Let me execute one more time. It gave me 3. So it did took account of index. I mean, this is the first index, second index, third index. So total 3. It gave us 3. It's just taking the length of that. When we passed null to this with comma, no matters how many null value you pass. Null is nothing but the empty values. So, and you test, still give you result 3, even though if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a difference between this. Length does not count null values. It only counts the actual value. It's completely ignores the null values, empty string, everything it's ignored. So doesn't matter what you give. I mean, if your string is having null values or actual values, so it will only consider the actual value and give result based on that. So here the actual value is 10, 20, and 30, and it will ignore this null. So if you ignore the null, length of 10, 20, 30 will become 3 only. So that's what the result it is giving to us. And as you know that length eliminates the null, it should not consider null. And let's see a case where you're only passing null, and so there's no value to pass. It gave us 0. I mean, this is giving us 0 now, but let me execute this. See, there's a different type of error. You should understand what exactly the meaning of this. Now read this out and explain me uh, what is the error. Is able to read it?
Yes, sir.
Can
I
anyone
think
read this out?
after.
Yeah, can anyone read this out and explain me? Come on, guys, feel free to do this.
Expression evaluation error at function length. Too few parameters for function, expected at least one parameter but found zero parameters. That means like there was no integer which was placed like th- there was no numbers and no parameters. So at least the brackets, if the null is there then it gives value as zero, but if there's no null also then it shows as error.
Right. Thank you for doing this. And other folks, please, you guys also feel free to do this because this is only for your benefits. Uh, uh, that's nothing. And I'm not holding any stick. So this is not school. This is a training class. So just feel free to ask questions, to answer questions. And yeah, so what did you say? That's completely right. So length, what happens with length is at least it needs some value. It needs value. If you define length functions to the empty value, it will give you the error. And here it needs one parameter. That's what it's saying clearly, that at least one parameter is required, and we haven't passed anything yet to it. That's what the error clearly says. And okay, so this is the length functions, and length functions completely ignores the null value. Let's take a case where you do require a function which should also take a count. I mean, it should also give you a result including your null. So in that case, we do have other function called as in count. Here is the count. I'll not click on this. You guys can go and check this. And because as I'm covering the array functions, I'll only cover array functions for now. But this is the count one. Uh, See, here is the definition. Use these functions to include null elements into the number of elements in a process variable or array. So the difference between length and count will be your count will consider your null values, and length will not consider the null values. It will give you the same result like 10, 20, 30. Length of that would be 3. 10, 20, 30. Count of that will be 3. But if you have it, if you have added any null values, let's say you've added two null values, it will give you as a count as 5. So And then one more thing is uh, length should not hold anything. I mean, it should not pass any parameter to length which is empty. It will end up thing into with error. So that will happen with this length. So that's what you see. Read out the notes. So they have clearly mentioned this function does not count null elements. For example, if used on a null result of a query from the query database smart service, the expression failed to evaluate and cause an error. That's what they have clearly mentioned under the notes. So to avoid an error, first check the result set for the null values using the isNull functions before attempting to the count the result using the length functions. So that's actually the best practices, uh, because most of the functions definitely needs a value. So they this length function has not coded or designed in such a way into our tool that it will also handle the null values. So to handle the null values, we need to do certain things from our end. Is first we need to check that is your value is null. Is null is what we that's a question mark, right? Is null. So we are asking the question mark will definitely give you is it true or is it false. So when you pass some null values, I mean it will give true, and if the value is not null, it will give you false. So before using length, you should always use is null. That's what syntax and this note says. So all right, so we did cover append, index, insert, join array, drop, length, rdrop. So the remaining functions you guys can explore by your own as well, and add, which is nothing but the remove, reverse, update array, where contents. So for you guys, this is the homework you could say, or the assignment for the, and hardly this will take half an hour for you, maximum half an hour. So just to cover 5 functions. So feel free to cover this by tomorrow. So next session, when will I'll take tomorrow, I'll keep 10-15 minutes to resolve any sort of queries do you have. And so that's it. So guys, that's it for today's session. I mean, it's time for me to wrap up. And so if you guys can cover remaining functions, this will cover all your array functions. Okay. So this many type of functions we have. You could see this, right? There are many things to cover. See. So far we just covered the array functions. Tomorrow we'll jump to the date and time, and the other functions could be the people or logical that I'll decide. So just feel free to complete remaining functions into array, and we'll discuss in class if you have any questions in tomorrow's sessions. All right?
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
Okay, sir.
any questions?
Yes, sir.
Anyone having any question?
No, sir, it's fine.
You guys able to understood, right? That was good only, right? Because I'm trying to go slow for you.
Yeah, we got it.
All right. So I'll share this link with Prakash and will ask him to share the link with you guys. So you will directly go to this array functions and cover the remaining functions into that category. All right.
Okay, sir.
All right then. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.